What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Litecast here on the CF After Dark Network. I'm Austin Keeney, and I'm joined by old friend of the program, current friend of the program. You know what? It's basketball season, and we haven't had him on yet. So it's Matt's busy. This is the perfect night to have him. Dylan Coon, welcome back to the Litecast. How does it feel to be on your old stomping grounds, but kind of in your new stomping grounds?
Yeah, it's a little strange. The Cyclone Fanatic wide right merger. I feel like Jake and I were kind of I mean, I'm still very much part of CF After Dark. I never really left to begin with, but also just being with Cyclone Fanatic with Let Him Cook. But this always does. It feels like home. This was for sure like my start in the Iowa State media, whatever you want to call it. Feels good to be home. And we were trying to get this figured out during basketball season, and it just never came together. I obviously have another podcast I do during basketball season with Let Him Cook, so scheduling's just a little bit tougher. But hey, made it work today. Happy to be here.
Yeah, shout out Iowa State for losing in the Sweet 16 to make this happen. So
Yeah,
you didn't
right?
have to record a Let Him Cook.
Yeah, brutal. I would much rather be in Indianapolis in a few days, but here we are, Keeney.
Would KCCI have done that? I know they're pretty pro Hawkeye. I saw a lot of coverage about Houston, but not as much from Chicago.
Hey, Reister and I, we were working our ass off. No, it's a bummer. I don't know about you, Keeney. When we get there on Thursday, Reister and I got to Chicago. For some reason, the bar across the street from our hotel closed at 8 p.m. on a Thursday in Chicago, which seems crazy to me. We had two March Madness games start after 8 o'clock and all these bars were closing. Anyways, we find another place, and Texas and Purdue are playing at the same time. Scott Reister's a huge Texas fan, graduated from Texas. And then you have the Iowa-Nebraska game. I felt like if Iowa beat Nebraska, I know it's a completely separate event and it has no influence on Iowa State, Tennessee, but I felt like if Iowa wins, we're going to lose. If Nebraska wins, we're going to win. Just like vibes. It felt like a bad way to start that weekend.
Had the exact same feeling that I think every Iowa State fan did. As soon as Iowa won that Florida game, it's like, son of a bitch, they're going to beat Nebraska and we're going to lose. But you know what? That's how it happened. And it sucked, and that's kind of what we're here to talk about. I guess that's the first thing we got to get into. So you were in Chicago. By the way, it was opening day last week. I can't believe that Chicago just wasn't prepared.
That's the other thing. I don't – the Cubs probably wrapped up before 8 o'clock, but crazy.
Yeah. You were in the arena. I know you were working, but let's talk about it. So Iowa State loses to Tennessee in a game that, I mean, everybody's had a few days to kind of digest at this point. What was the big thing that stuck out to you being in the arena watching that game?
I mean, so this really hit me Thursday. We go into Tennessee's locker room, and there are three bigs, Estrella, Akpara, and Carey, were all kind of standing in the corner as the media walked in. I was like, those guys are huge. It was just crazy, the size. That was the first thing I saw, which is very, I don't know, ironic because of the course of that game. But I mean, it was for sure an Iowa State dominated crowd, but the size on the court was so Tennessee centric. They almost always had the three biggest guys on the court. I mean, Buchanan and Plata are tall, but in terms of width, they almost always had the three biggest guys.
Yeah, Nate Heise guarding Jalen Carey. I mean, he did his best, and Nate Heise, he played an awesome game, but that's just a lot to ask. You know, Carey he's an absolute tank. I think you've been a big Carey guy all year. So
I have, which sucks.
He did a number on us. Yeah. Sorry, just look at his comments here. Saw the starting five and knew immediately we were screwed. You know what? Maybe we touch on this. Joshua Jefferson. I mean, I don't know if you shot the shoot around or you saw him walking around. It was probably pretty obvious at that point that he wasn't going to play. He obviously confirmed it after the game. Very emotional interview with Scott Reister, just basically saying, yeah, I wasn't even close and I wouldn't have been able to play in the Elite Eight game either. How much of a difference do you think he makes in that game?
Well, I mean, I think it's huge, right? That's the other thing that sucks so much about that game is you're looking around and you're like, hey, our 6'9" All-American power forward, there's no way Tennessee, they're a great they're literally the number one offensive rebounding team in the country. But they don't out rebound Iowa State by 20 if Joshua Jefferson is out there. There's just no way you can. I just can't fathom that. And I also think Momchilovich and Heisey played great. You're right, but like they are so freed up on offense when they're not worried about guarding Jalen Carey and Felix Akpara when they're giving up like 60 to 70 pounds on both of those guys. Like that would have been Joshua Jefferson's defensive assignment. Like I think yeah, that's exactly right. We have still lost to Tennessee? Absolutely. I think their size would have been a problem with Jefferson, but it was like I was texting in the CF After Dark Slack of like, can we play Blake and Plata at the same time? Because we're just gonna get demolished. And I understand Plata and Buchanan have probably never practiced as a 4, because why would they ever need to? But it just felt like we were just getting bullied. I mean, it felt like we were playing guys that were 4 years older. Like we were all freshmen in high school and they were all seniors. It was just like, I don't know. It was discombobulating on how ridiculous it was on the glass.
Right. And it's not just that Jefferson, like to your point, he's 6'9", but he's also like 250 pounds.
Yeah.
Like he's
He's
got the size that he could, bang with those guys on the boards and rebound, but he would have had like a foot speed advantage when you get those mismatches on him. Like, could he pull Carey away from the basket? Could he pull Akbar away from the basket and then drive around them and distribute from there? Maybe things look a little bit different. I mean, Iowa State didn't play a great game, couldn't make a free throw, couldn't force enough live ball turnovers to make the difference. I don't know, man. It just it sucks. It's a tough way for the season to end. Like I said, we've all had a few days to kind of take it in and think about it. I don't know. I really like Burf and Andy's question about like which one is the bigger what if to you, Dylan, as a Cyclone fan, 2014 with Niang or 26 with Jefferson?
So like when that was posed, I agreed with like most of the chat of like, man, it feels like it's this year. But when you like, okay, let's say we do beat Tennessee. Now you're staring down the barrel of Michigan and Arizona. Those are most likely your next 2 games. And like even at full strength, I think we played, I mean, outside of the bench production against Arizona and Kansas City, we played a pretty close to perfect game against Arizona and we lost. And it would have taken 2 just about perfect games to get to the championship. And then you might be playing UConn, you might be playing Illinois. And that would also be, I mean, like we didn't want Illinois to be the 3 seed in our 2 seed bracket. Like I don't think any Iowa State fan
we didn't want that again.
Right. So
run it back from a couple years ago.
What you were saying, and Keeney, you probably remember that field in 2014 better than I do, but like 2014 felt more open. Like the elite teams in college basketball right now, I feel like are just a step above. We saw Duke lose to UConn, but that took a miraculous, crazy shot. And it felt like Duke, Michigan, and Arizona have kind of separated themselves, and we were going to have to go through 2 of them. And it felt, could it happen? Sure, but it would have had to take every right bounce. And I feel like as Cyclone fans, we know that doesn't tend to happen for us.
It just sort of feels like we're cursed at this point. Yeah, 2014, the field was more open because the team we lost to was a 7 seed UConn that went on to win the whole thing. So that's, I think, why that sticks out more for folks. I should pause real quick, make sure that we shout out that we are sponsored by the Iowa Distilling Company in Cumming, Iowa. Dylan, do you love Cumming?
Hey now. Phrasing. I've been there a couple times for work.
Very nice, very nice. Yep, Prairie Fire, 1858 vodka. I mean, you're a Pepsi guy. Would you throw a little Prairie Fire and some Pepsi and spice that up a little bit?
They came out with a Pepsi cinnamon a couple years ago. Can't say I ever tried it, but that, I mean, one could imagine that would be probably pretty good.
Yeah, well, they've been sponsoring us throughout the postseason. Big fans of the Iowa Distilling Company. So yeah, go get yourself some 1858 vodka. Help support the Iowa State Athletic Department. Prairie Fire's great. Throw it in your Pepsi. But all right, what else do we got? I mean,
I'll say this, Keeney. Covering Iowa State, on one hand, it's like my favorite thing to do at work because I grew up a huge Iowa State fan. I'm still a huge Iowa State fan. So it feels like a blessing in that regard. Oh, man, I don't think I've ever had the emotions of covering a game like I did post that Iowa State game.
The next thing I was going to ask you is about like Taman Lipsey, obviously. Yeah. I mean, there's there's a few guys, but like Taman Lipsey's the big one. Cyclone career comes to a close in the Sweet 16. Nate Heisey, great tournament to finish up his run. Jefferson, obviously, the heartbreak of the injury. That's it for him. I don't know, man. I guess what are you gonna like remember most about covering this senior class as they, move on?
I think especially for Taman Lipsey is like I've known of him for probably 8 years, and I've been covering him for 6, which feels, I mean, like every year I've been at KCCI, I've covered Taman Lipsey. I covered him as a junior at Ames. I shot probably 3 or 4 of his high school games his senior year, including a state championship. And I was just so impressed by him when he was a senior at Ames. I like the way he conducted. It was before they introduced the shot clock, and he was just brutal. Like he would not. Ames would not take a shot until it was wide open, and they would make it. But like Taman Lipsey would just conduct a perfect offense. If it took 10 seconds, it would take 10. If it needed to take 45 seconds, it would take 45. But he would wait until there was a wide open shot, whether it was him or a teammate, and they were just brutal. I mean, it was just like you couldn't get around it. But what worries me, and we've seen this before, is like a guy looks really good in Iowa high school basketball, and you get to the D1, especially the Big 12, and it's a
Iowa
different
State's never had guys like that before, have they?
Right, yeah. All of those guys have always panned out for
Omaha
us.
Blue, Xavier Foster.
Yeah. So I was a little timid, and it's not like he's a super great athlete. I mean, he's quick, but he's not explosive. And so I was like, I don't know if it'll translate. And then he's not supposed to start as a freshman. Long story short, that guy turns into an all-time Cyclone. I'm like breaks a shit ton of records, all-time wins leader, which is like a really impressive one to me. And I was saying this last night, his 4 years, they were a 6 seed, a 2 seed, a 3 seed, and a 2 seed. And like you don't see that level of sustained success. Even when like Fred was here, we didn't have that much consistency with Fred. Like he got us to a 3 seed that one year, but we weren't a top 3 seed 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
And
The
he
Fred
just
era
did.
was like a lot shorter than people remember. It was only
Yep.
5 years, and then obviously I think year 1 we missed the tournament. Year 2 we were at 10,
Right.
and then we
So
took off before he left. So yeah,
yeah. And like some of that, and I think rightfully so, I think we contribute some of Steve Prohm's early success with Fred because like George Niang is on Prohm's first year. Monte was there for 2 of Prohm's years. Like we just kind of associate all of Fred's players with Fred. But if I think it's all assured that he will. TJ comes back next year, he'll be at Iowa State longer than Fred had, which that's also mind blowing. But
yeah. Like Fred's been at Nebraska longer than he was at Iowa State. Like that was the thing that came out earlier this year. It's like, wait a second, how'd that happen?
Yeah, but I just think Taman is like the perfect, like I couldn't pick a better player to be TJ's first freshman through senior guy. Like he is so TJ Otzelberger coded as a point guard, where it's just like hustle, defense, grit, leadership, diving after every loose ball. Like the kid's just incredible, and as much like he loves Ames the way Iowa State fans love Ames. Like he grew up as an Iowa State Cyclone, and I feel like you could just see that in every interview, in every game. Like he didn't take any of it for granted. I still like get chills hearing the crowd chant Taman Lipsey on senior day, or like that Houston game this year. Just like what a career. I'm just so happy for him. I so wish that he was able to win one more game as an Iowa State Cyclone because I know he wanted to be the team that kind of broke that ceiling that we've given ourselves. But besides that, like I don't know if he would really. I don't think he has many do-overs. I don't think he has many. I wish I would have done that differently.
I feel like he, especially in this postseason run, just like took on that alpha dog mentality, and like he knew that it was coming to an end, and he didn't want it to end. Like he's gonna.
Yep.
He was so good in that Kentucky game. Like he's the catalyst of that win. And yeah, I wanted it so bad for him. When that layup at the end of the first half rolled out and we were down by 1 instead of up by 1, I was like, that's a bad omen. But man, what a player. Cyclone Games 92-15 has been coming strong with the comments tonight. So is Taman the best player the state of Iowa has produced since Harrison Barnes and Doug McDermott? I got to think
I mean,
about this one.
Marcus Page was pretty good at basketball.
Yeah, that's maybe the name you would throw out there.
Yeah, I don't know. But I
Get
would
into some of
probably
those, like, because not a lot of guys from Iowa came here for a while, so it'd be like a Wieskamp who made the NBA, but like he had a pretty
he
good
didn't have
career.
it.
Like Peter Jock had a pretty good career at Iowa,
Yeah.
but like those guys are maybe I don't know. I don't know how to like say like they were more athletic guys and like maybe they were better like just skilled basketball players, but like Taman, I felt like as a leader, as a defender, yeah, let's not forget the McCaffrey children.
Yep.
By the way, Dylan, can you tell me why the McCaffreys are supposed to be so happy about Iowa having a good run in the tournament?
They're Penn Quakers. Oh, like you fired their dad, man. Like I don't
Like
know.
the knives are out for Connor McCaffrey, and I get it because he's not a very likable guy, and like he averaged 4 points a game and played all the time for his dad, and
Yep.
has been set up for success through nepotism and whatever. Like that's why he's in coaching now. But I mean, man, Iowa did fire his dad.
Yeah.
Like he's not supposed to be like, hey, it's so awesome that the year after you fired my dad, we had a good run.
Yeah. I have no idea. And I think like as a funny side note, I think like the Caitlin Clark stuff, people being mad about that, of her not tweeting about Iowa basketball. Didn't she tweet after the UConn game?
Those are people that need like they need to get lives, you know.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm just gonna say it. Like, if you're obsessing over what Caitlin Clark tweets about, like, go outside. You know,
That's
we had a
rad.
couple days of nice weather. Like, yeah. Thomas coming in here with a paid chat. We love that. Dylan, yeah. Ask TJ about Taman in a couple years. Is Taman gonna go play in Europe? Is he gonna play in the G League, or is he just like parking it right on the bench as a GA?
I think for sure he'll get a chance at summer league. And as hard as that guy works, and as good as a locker room guy as he'd be, like Jamal Shed is still hanging on in Toronto. I think Taman Lipsey, Fran Fraschilla, that was his comp all the time, was Jamal Shed. Like he this guy's gonna build the culture at Iowa State. He's gonna put his body on the line. Like Taman's gonna get his shot in the NBA, and I think even if it doesn't pan out, he's gonna have a whole lot of success in Europe for 10 years probably. But yeah, he'd be a great coach. No doubt in my mind. Like he played like a coach. Like TJ said that all the time, is that like he had a coach out there on a court with his team at all times.
You kind of feel like that's what the future says for him when
Yeah.
he's like in his 30s and maybe done playing in Europe or maybe he sticks on an NBA roster for a while. We'll see.
I honestly
Excuse
like
me. We'll
Deontay
see.
Garrett. I
Yeah, we're
think
rooting
will
for
have the
him. But
exact same career path as Deontay Garrett. Like he'll have a shot in the NBA, and then he'll make a bunch of money in Spain or Germany or Israel or Turkey, one of those, and he'll be fine.
it's a good point from Levi here.
Yeah.
Health is definitely going to be a factor, and I mean he put his body on the line for Iowa State, so I don't know how much he's got left to give. Hopefully, I don't know, man. Do you feel like professional basketball in Europe is any less physical than like the Big 12? I don't know.
I also, do you know how many games like a season they play? I can't imagine it's 82. I mean, there's literally not enough teams in a league for them to do that unless they just play everybody like 10 times. But
Yeah, can't say I'm following the Euro leagues all that
yeah,
closely, to be
me neither.
honest. All right, another one from 9215. Who raised the standard more in their time at Iowa State, Niang or
Ooh,
Taman Lipsey?
I love this question. I think Lipsy, like he committed to a 2-22 Iowa State team. That's crazy. I don't know if I would have done like put yourself in his shoes. Like he was at a Team USA camp as a sophomore, has all this hype and potential around him, breaks his leg, and then has to commit to like a dead in the water team and stuck it out. And I mean, unless something crazy happens, like Iowa State is in a better part now, I think, than it was when Niang left. Maybe that's a hot take, but I think it's probably Lipsy. Just being from where he inherited the program to where he took it, like I think that's the difference.
I think that's the answer too, because like George wasn't like the leader from day one,
Yeah,
the way that Taman was. Like, yeah, the program was ascending under Fred, but we also had like DeAndre Kane and Melvin
Ed Jones.
Edgem and Chris Babb as like upperclassmen. I feel like by the time Taman was a sophomore, he was like the leader of the team. So
Yeah. And also, like, who were like all of Taman's upperclassmen were transfers. I guess in a way, so were George Niang's, but like the upperclassmen we had when Taman got brought in, you kind of knew these guys at most were going to be here for 2 years.
Yep.
So it wasn't guys that had been at Iowa State like lifers, like an Edgem or like. So I think that's the difference too of Taman looking around and being like, I'm the only guy that's even has a chance to be here in 4 years. No offense to Demarion Watson, but
Yeah, why didn't he play more minutes on Friday?
yeah. Demarion Watson would have had a legacy game against Tennessee. Could have used his size, Keeney. People forget.
Why didn't North Texas make the tournament? You know, he could have played more. If he was on the court more, maybe they would have won their conference. All right, let's talk about Joshua Jefferson. So I guess this is maybe breaking news. Like today, he was a consensus All-American, officially named one. So his career comes to a close as like a shockingly successful player.
Yeah.
2-year transfer. He's going to be a first-round pick in the NBA draft. He was a not a first-team All-American, but a consensus All-American. Just a horrible, horrible way to end it, though. Like, obviously, he's going to be the what-if guy off of this team, but how are you going to remember him after these 2 years?
Especially, we talk all the time about like the bump that players get with a summer at Iowa State. He might have maybe 10 freshman to sophomore year. That was a crazy bump. But from going to a really serviceable big man in the Big 12 last year, and you saw flashes of it last year, but the step he took this year, and Keeney, I'll say this, I was worried about this team, maybe not as much as like the national pundits, but you lose Keyshawn and Curtis, and you're looking around and you're like, hey, we're going to need like somebody to average 17, 18 points a game just because of the volume we're losing. And for him to step up and, become a consensus All-American, like I don't know if when we brought him in from St. Mary's, if that was ever – I mean, maybe TJ saw it, and I'm sure Joshua Jefferson knew what he was capable of, but I don't think the average fan was going, "Oh, that guy's going to be an All-American in a year."
Definitely not. Not even at the beginning of the year, you thought like, okay, this guy's going to be a good player. He might make an All Big 12 team as like an honorable mention guy, and
Yep.
he was damn near the best player in the conference this year. Not named Debansa, and I'm going to purposely omit Jaden Bradley from that conversation, even though he won the Player of the Year award.
And I don't think Darren Peterson played enough games to qualify. So
certainly not.
Also, Joshua Jefferson did such a good job in the non-conference too. And just to be able to establish himself that early to where you knew he was going to be a steady hand once conference play rolled around, like that's really what catapulted. I think he's still probably second in KenPom Player of the Year rankings. And a lot of that has to do with like his games against, like in Vegas, he was incredible. Kind of a homecoming, like going back to his, Nevada, and man, he was just so solid early on. And you're like, where the hell? Like, it was just incredible. The leap he made to be a consensus All-American. I mean, the first All-American since Niang. I was shocked that Monte Morris, as good as his stats were his senior year, I really have no idea how he was not at least a third-team All-American. Stupid as hell. But man, Jefferson really turned into something that I don't think a lot of people thought he would.
Yeah, take a look here at the KenPom Player of the Year rankings. So he's still number 2, even after not playing at all in the tournament.
Right.
Ahead of look at the names that he's ahead of, like Yaxel Lendeborg.
Also, Keaton
Wagler, who is leading a Final Four team.
Zuby Ejiofor, Big East Player of the Year. Tyler Tanner was electric all year. Everybody and their mom keeps talking about Braden Smith, and he's above all of them.
Kind of glad to see Braden Smith done. No offense to Braden Smith. That Purdue team made me mad all year.
Yeah. They also it felt like they kept getting worse throughout the year, and then it was like 2 seed, and you were like,
yeah, won the Big Ten tournament, and then all of a sudden, vault them up the bracket. I'm thankful that Arizona did what they did to them to get them out of there. I guess we touch on Nate Heisey real quick as a guy who maybe for like the first third of his Iowa State career, people are like, why do we even pick this guy up? And he turned into just like a cult hero.
Yeah. He was like when he came in from UNI, so he's UNI's leading scorer as, I mean, a redshirt sophomore, I think is probably what he was at UNI. Like, we knew we had Curtis and Keyshawn coming back and Taman, and, like, I just was like, why do we need a leading scorer guard? And to go from like the guy on that UNI team, and it's not like he was getting 22. I think he averaged like 14 at UNI. They were just a low scoring team because they always are. But like for him to adopt this glue guy, like I'm just gonna hustle and play defense. I'm gonna guard Jalen Carey if that's what TJ needs me to do. He was kind of just the ultimate like down for whatever. He was just like out there to have a good time. And when we needed him, like when guys got injured, when Keyshawn got hurt last year, when Joshua got hurt this year, he stepped up. His numbers would go up in almost every single category. But when everyone is healthy, he had no problem taking a back seat and just like busting his ass to make like he's kind of like a second Lipsy out there. Like just all the hustle plays he does, all the little things.
There's a little bit of like, I mean this in like the most endearing way possible. Like he was just like a pest. Like he
Yeah.
just like bothered people. Like he talked smack on the court.
Yeah.
Would get up in the face of like he played extremely physical defense to the point where he get called for reaching fouls, and then he just go up and do it again and be like, all right, go ahead and call it again, ref.
Right.
Like that was the kind of guy he was. And obviously signature moments like the shot against Houston to win the game, the three at the end of the first half against Kentucky. Like he had a few pretty pretty memorable moments too.
Yeah, the no dip three. I might put on that Iowa State Houston game tonight. Like I need something. Also, that we were talking about like Taman Lipsy moments the other day. How like fitting is it that Taman Lipsy? I think the moment I'll always think about him was like outworking Chris Sinak, a 5-star, 7-foot tall All American, like McDonald's All American, and out hustling him for an offensive rebound on the free throw line. Why the hell he was even down there to begin with? Like why you have your 6'2" point guard even down there to rebound a free throw? No idea. But man, like that, I love that so much.
It's the only time I got to see Taman play in person when he was at Iowa State was
Wow.
that Houston game. So like,
That's awesome.
What a moment. I guess as we kind of wrap things up here, obviously it's the end of the season, and that means we're about to fire up transfer portal season. As you look at Iowa State's roster, obviously we talked about some of the guys that we're going to lose. We don't know. It's hard to say if anything's going to change, but the expectation is that Jamarian Bateman's going to come back. Milan's in the draft and testing the waters, but it does sound like there's a good chance he comes back. Don Plato will be back. We think Blake Buchanan probably back. Where do you see Iowa State needing to like gather reinforcements in the portal? Like if you had a wish list of like what type of player are you looking to grab to improve Iowa State for next season?
So I'm going to do this kind of like, first I'm going to do it in a world where Milan comes back. And then I'm going to do it in a world where he stays in the NBA draft because scouts say you shot 50% from 3 and you're like, we're the NBA. That's all we do now.
That's all we shoot. We only shoot 3s. By the way, let's get the obvious out of the way. Free tag, I think is how you pronounce it, from Buffalo. Like that's your guy, and he's in the portal, so he's number one.
I've been on him. I watched so much shitty college basketball. I watched like 2 Buffalo games this year, and I think in both of them he had over 30 points. And I was like,
Iowa State did offer him out of high school, I think.
Yeah. So there is like some actual. I don't know if they'll go after him in the portal, but there is an Iowa State connection there. The other guy that I'm super high on is Isaiah Johnson. And I think that's probably more realistic in a world where Milan stays in the NBA. Because I think you can keep Torre at the 2, Bateman at the 3. You need to find somebody as a 4 probably, and then Buchanan at the 5, and then have Isaiah Johnson. But like you would have Isaiah Johnson, a freshman at Colorado this year. And I know Colorado sucked as a team, and I feel bad for Tad Boyle. I was talking about this. It's like every year we play them, and I'm like, hey, man, if these like 3 guys develop together, I think they had like, they'll be all right in a couple years. And then they all transfer, and it's like that sucks. But Isaiah Johnson, I think to me was a clear standout guy of like, hey, buddy, you're better than Colorado. Like, knowing what I just said, I was like, I think he looked around and was like, playing the Big 12 teams he was playing, and I was like, you would fit so much better on, take your pick: Iowa State, Arizona, Houston, Kansas, whoever. But I think just like a scoring dynamic guard that can get to the rim. I feel like that's like a Keyshawn Gilbert, maybe not the same size. He might be a little smaller than Keyshawn, 6'1", 170. But he can get
17 points a
downhill.
game.
Yeah, I mean, he was filling it up. So he's probably my favorite guy in the portal right now. I was just, even after we played Colorado, I was like, we're going to like, that's a guy in the handshake line where you're like, hey, Ames, Iowa, beautiful this time of year. So I'm big on him. But if Milan comes back, I feel like you got to play him at the 3. And I feel like if you're going to retain Torrey and Bateman, they almost both have to start. I mean, so then you don't really need a guard or not an Isaiah Johnson. You could get a Heisey type, like kind of a combo guard off the bench. But then you're really looking for a 4-man. I think Joshua Jefferson, that's the obvious kind of hole in the team right now. I think I'd be fine with Torrey being our starting point guard next year. I think he showed us enough this year. And again, like that bump they make from their freshman to sophomore year, it's a real thing. So, yeah. But
I love the idea of like a Torrey, Bateman, Milan backcourt.
Yeah.
And then, you look for some front court reinforcements.
Yep. So I don't know. And could we play Milan at the 4? I think it's matchup dependent. I think you could run that lineup for a while, but I don't think it can be your go-to. Like, you see what happens against Tennessee. I mean, not a lot of teams are built like Tennessee anymore in this day and age, but if you're going to run into it, you need some more depth in the front court for sure.
We'll look back at the comments here real quick. Who's a bigger cult following, do you think? Nate Heisey or Bob Jones?
I think Bob Jones probably had the better arc. He always had kind of like a HBO character arc of like starting off of like, I would just like have to look away when Bob Jones went up for a layup the first year he got here. Cause I was like, there's like a 50% chance he somehow misses this. And then, by his senior year, it's like, hey, they're making a run.
He's like a legitimately solid, like Big 12 big man,
He's like kind of our go-to big guy. And so I don't know. I feel like Nate Heisey was maybe a little more, you knew what you were getting the whole time. I think I'd probably lean Bob Jones just because Bob Jones, like, again, like what he started as to what he ended up as was crazy.
That's a good point. So this was kind of a big talking point after the Tennessee game, just Milan needing some more quote unquote memorable moments. I mean, he didn't play great in the Sweet 16 game, and that's kind of a pattern now. He hasn't played great in tournament games that we've lost, but I don't know how much you hold that one against him when literally all Tennessee was trying to do was deny him the ball.
Yeah. Yeah. This game doesn't bother me so much. I will say I looked up, or a buddy of mine looked up his shooting splits from the Illinois game as a freshman, the Ole Miss game last year, and the Tennessee game this year. 4 for 25 from the field, Keeney. That's brutal. But again, this Tennessee game, so on one end of the court, he was trying to box out Jalen Carey and Felix Akpara and front them or double them. And then on the other side of the court, he was being face guarded by Bishop Boswell, who's one of the best perimeter defenders in the SEC. So it's just like an ultimate nightmare. And then like Nate and Net too, like he would get thrown at him. That guy's an alien. Like it was going to be a tough game for Milan no matter what. He's had so many almost moments. I mean, he beat Houston. That was his freshman year, right? When he hit that turnaround. I mean, that's probably his big one right now. He almost hit that buzzer beater against Baylor his freshman year too.
Yeah, the one like he made it. That just ran out. Like the clock ran out before it left his hand.
If only that could happen to Arizona once.
I know. I think about the end of like the first half of the Arizona game in the Big 12 tournament and just those 3 threes that he hit. And then we ended up losing on a buzzer beater. It's like, man, that was his night. He was so good in that game. But what could have been?
Yep.
All right. Heisey, the no dip shot against Houston. Do you have like a favorite made shot from an Iowa State player?
I think it's the Naz Long, Oklahoma State. Phil Forte missed free throw. Kane up with that. I mean, that shot was cinema. The way Hilton reacted to that shot was. Were you a student? You had a.
I was a student at that point. Yeah, that was because that the context behind that game is crazy. Like that was Melvin Edgem and DeAndre Kane senior day, and like Edgem fouled out, and we were down for pretty much the whole game, or like for most of the second half, and it's like we're really gonna lose on senior
Yeah.
day? Like what the
Right.
heck? And then I mean that was just pulled out of nowhere. That was also I think the day that we did the massive flop for Marcus Smart.
Love
Like I think
it.
that I don't remember if that was the first game he came back after pushing that fan, but like there was a lot of vitriol for him in that game. And then, yeah, I mean, Oklahoma State showed up and then pulled it out at the last minute. That was really cool. That's probably
Yeah.
number one on my list right now. But, we don't go far enough back. I'm sure there was something from like the 70s or 80s or like Johnny Orr era, but
Right.
I think just individual shot, I think it's Naz. Nate will be
Yep.
up there though, because that Houston team had so much talent and they're like the new kid on the block who just wins all the time. So
Right.
to be able to beat them in that environment was really cool on Big Monday. All right. I have a little bit of a hot take here because, yeah, St. Mary's, I mean, this guy's probably going to Arizona State because he's
Right.
going to follow his coach, but I don't know if I'm necessarily thinking we need to go get like a 7 foot, 270-pound guy that just bangs around in the post. So it just doesn't fit what TJ wants to do. I know that if you need to, like, if you want to win at the highest level, like look at Arizona and Michigan. They're the two best teams in the country and they are massive,
Yep.
but they don't play the same type of defense that we do, where we're trying to trap and do ball pressure and like cause live ball turnovers and run out. So I don't know if necessarily having 2 7-footers is just the right fit for TJ.
I think like in an ideal world, I really think like the best center that TJ could have is Jameel McKay. Like we kind of saw it with Hassan Ward. I mean, the same type of player. I think McKay is probably like a step above in that archetype of just like a springy, can run the court, lob threat, shot blocker. I mean, like McKay won conference defensive player of the year his junior year. So like I think a center like that, but then I think at the power forward, and like I'm not even holding this against Joshua Jefferson, but he was just so versatile. But I think like the guys that also shine are like we need a Brant Chatfield. We need a Robert Jones. We need like someone with girth. We need width. Like that's another thing that like Joshua Jefferson had that, but he was also doing a million other things all the time. You kind of just need some guy to get in there and muck it up, move guys around. And Jefferson was literally orchestrating the offense. He was shooting the three. Like he was just a wizard. And I think like at that 4 spot is where you get like a junkyard dog or like your backup big. Like Plata is very similarly built to Blake Buchanan. There's like you're kind of like Blake Buchanan goes off and you kind of get another very similarly, and maybe Plata adds some more to his game. I think he's probably got a ceiling we haven't seen yet. He's first year at Iowa State, but I think we need that's kind of the other like roster construction thing is like I want a big guy who can move people around and just muck it up.
Yeah, like I don't want to go spend $2 million on a 7-footer from St. Mary's who's just not gonna, you know, it just he won't play like 30 minutes a game in TJ's system, a guy
Yeah,
like that. So yeah, that's more of a round around the edges, pick up a backup big. Like I don't know what Eric Mulder was supposed to be, but
right.
I mean, wingspan for days and
Sure.
100% 3-point shooter. But
Yep.
I don't know.
People forget best
People do
3-point
forget
shooter on the
that.
team.
Yeah, statistically. All right. Let's maybe. I mean, do you have anything else on Iowa State?
I don't think so. I'll say this. I feel better about next year than I did after the Ole Miss game. Like I felt I was worried knowing that Keyshawn and Kurt were gone. And I was like, I just don't know if we'll have the scoring. I know the defense is always going to be good, but I feel like next year, especially if Milan comes back, dog, I trust TJ. I trust this team. I really hope Kyle Green stays, but you know, like I think TJ has kind of proven like a 5 seed is at the floor, maybe a 6 seed. I don't know. Like I think he's given us like we owe him grace to be like, dog, you got it. Like there's until proven
Trust
otherwise,
the
we trust you.
process. You would
Yeah,
say
yeah. Too soon.
too soon. All right. let's talk about the Final Four. Let's get into the tournament that is still happening. You touched on it a little bit, just the absolute miracle of UConn knocking out Duke, and now
Crazy.
we've got kind of a weird Final Four here. We've got
Yeah.
one game that feels like the true championship game,
Right.
which is Michigan and Arizona, and then UConn and Illinois, who have both like acquitted themselves really well in the tournament. But I'm not sure if you're like looking at either of those teams and saying, yeah, they were definitely the best team this year. If either of them win, it'd be kind of a weird outcome. So I but kind of the obvious Michigan, Arizona. I mean, we're Big 12 guys too, so that's kind of the priority. That's the game that people want to watch. But what are you kind of looking at here? How do you handicap this?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Like the Arizona Michigan game could be an all timer. Like those two teams, I think, especially with Duke out of the picture now, are far and away the two best teams left. And like that front court matchup is so intriguing. Like you have Krivas and Mara, you have Lenderborg, and he's gonna see bits of Awaka. He's gonna see Koa Pete. I think Arizona probably gets the edge in the guard department with Bradley and Burries. I don't know. Again, I'm pulling for Arizona. I just like something about Michigan rubs me the wrong way, and maybe I don't know how you feel about them, Keeney. The like part that like I was like, what are we doing? Lendenborg was just letting the ball roll up the court literally for no reason against Tennessee, and he just refused to pick it up for like 10 seconds. They're up 20. This is in the second half. And he ends up turning it over, and Gillespie just yams on it on the other end. And I was like, you dork. Like, there's something about Michigan that rubs me the wrong way. So I'm going to be pulling for Arizona as much as they've been a pain in our side the last 2 years. I think Arizona far and away is the most man. The other part about this, Keeney, is all four teams seem unlikable to me. That's what
Really,
sucks.
all four?
Am I wrong there? Who do you like out of this? I don't know if I like any of the coaches left either.
I kind of like. I think Tommy Lloyd seems like a cool dude. Like he just seems like he gets it.
Yeah,
So I guess I'm a Tommy Lloyd guy. I don't know if I would call this Arizona team likable,
they're
but
just a wagon. Every time I watch them, I'm like, dog, they're just so much better than everybody. It's just ridiculous.
they're extremely ethical hoopers is how I would
Yeah,
describe them. Like we don't shoot threes, we just beat the hell out of you, and we do it at the rim.
yeah.
I
And
don't know,
then
man.
UConn, that game was crazy. That like, I don't Keeney. I think as a kid when I watched March Madness, I was like, I just liked buzzer beaters and like the mat, like just crazy stuff. And I'm just like, I sit there and I just dissect. I'm like, how did that like, what was Caden Boozer doing? What are we? There's 10 seconds left. They're literally trying to foul you. There is no pressure to even get the ball across half court. If you get a 10-second violation, UConn's going to get the ball with like 0.6 seconds. So there's really even no rush to get it across half court. And he just throws it into two guys. And then Isaiah Evans doesn't even show his hand on the. It was just like a total what the hell. And like the Florida Iowa game was like that. The Iowa Nebraska game had like I feel like I just poke holes in the madness of coming down to like what was that player thinking? What was that coach thinking? I don't know if I'm getting too like pessimistic about the tournament, but instead of just enjoying the chaos, I just always like go back and double guess like what was the goal? What were we trying to do?
I think about how much time like we would practice, running a full court press and trying to break a full court press. And I'm like, nobody can do it. St.
Right.
John's almost made it to the Final Four just by pressing people. Like I
Yeah.
don't it's weird that college teams have such a hard time breaking a press.
And like Florida looked like they had never pressed a team in their lives when they tried to put that press on Iowa when they're up two. I don't know why they're pressing in the first place, but it was probably the worst executed press I'd ever seen.
Yeah, I mean that was the easiest 3-on-2 for a wide
Yeah,
open three you've ever seen.
right. It looked like a basketball drill. It was just it's madness. There's some coaching decisions and player decisions that have just been otherworldly to me.
We haven't talked enough on mic about this, but I think of the four teams, I have to assume that Illinois is the team you like the least, right?
Yeah, I hate Brad Underwood. They're all offense and no defense, and every player on that team's last name besides Wagler ends in a VIC.
We got a
So
bunch of itches out there,
yeah,
Stojakovic, Merkovich.
pass.
So I don't know, maybe for the uninitiated, like what is it about this that rubs you the wrong way?
So I was talking Ricer and I think Ricer was just trying to cheer me up, but he was like, Jefferson, like he's gonna have a good NBA career. And I was like, I threw out a name. I said, I think he'll kind of be like Kyle Anderson. I think he'll be a 10, 11-year guy. He's never gonna maybe I'm wrong. I was wrong about Halliburton, but I don't see Jefferson like lighting the NBA on fire. But I'll say this: if his name was Joshua Jeffersonovich from Lithuania, and he
Top
had the
five pick,
exact same
man.
skill set, I feel like every scout in the NBA would be like mouth watering over like his size and his skill. So, like, I think that's kind of it. I know it starts, and you know this too. It starts with the Luka Doncic and Trae Young thing, and that just
Is that
sours.
really is that the beginning of it though? Like the
I
guys
really
that came
think so.
before Luka, you didn't have
Like,
any.
I mean, I was kind of too young for like Peja Stojakovic. I was definitely too young for Drazen Petrovic, who was kind of the first one. Nowitzki's not Eastern European, but I never hated Dirk. I don't know. Doncic for sure was the first one where I was like, screw this guy. Like this guy, this guy sucks. Like he doesn't play defense. I don't even think. And like Jokic rubs me the wrong way too. It kind of looks like he doesn't give a shit about the NBA sometimes, and he just wants to like go back to Europe and race horses. And like I miss when like Dennis Rodman was like a superstar. Michael Jordan was a superstar. Like I love the NBA era where it's like we're gonna date Kardashians, we're gonna like be on top of like tabloid magazines, we're gonna have a shit ton of money, and we're gonna put up 30 points a game and dunk on everybody. Like that's peak NBA to me, and that is like the opposite of what this new wave of Eastern European NBA is. So it started with Doncic,
Yeah, I
who,
don't
by
know.
the way,
We don't
not as
need to
good
litigate that right now, do we?
as Washington Wizards Trae Young. He's gonna put the Wizards on the map, Keeney. They're gonna make an Eastern Conference Finals. You wait.
Okay, with Anthony Davis,
Yeah, they're
the
gonna make a run.
the centerpiece of the Luka trade, Anthony
Yep.
Davis, man. Do you just want to do the NBA stuff now? Like,
Sure. Let's get into it.
okay. I mean, how connected are you to the league this year with the playoffs starting in a couple weeks? Like, is there anything that's standing out to you?
Especially with Halliburton being out. I mean, I watched the NBA playoffs probably closer last year, and I don't know how. I mean, maybe literally since like middle school. But with Halliburton out, I have not paid barely any attention. The Brooklyn Nets are abysmal, Keeney. I know
The
tanking is
Brooklyn
like what they're
Nets.
trying to do, but God, it's tough out here. I still follow so many like Brooklyn Nets Twitter accounts. It is not a fun time over there.
The one and
they're
only
not
Nets fan in
even.
Iowa here. You're down bad a little bit.
Yeah, it's brutal.
So you're okay, you're still a Nets fan, even though like Kyrie and Kevin Durant aren't on the team anymore.
I mean, I was a Brooklyn Nets fan before that. Like, I went through some really bad Brooklyn Nets years before KD and Irving and Harden. Like, I was like when KD became a Brooklyn Net, that was one of the best like professional sports moments of my life because I really thought that I picked the right team. Like, I was like, he's gonna win me 2 championships, and I'm gonna look like a genius. And
Sometimes you just make me sick though. It's like, all right, New York, they're black and white. They're
it's
nobody
awesome.
cares.
Jay-Z bought them. They had so much hype. And also I was like 12 or 13 when I picked this team. But like they're moving to Brooklyn, the Barclays Center, Jay-Z's an owner. They have this super clean like black and white look. Those are my 2 favorite colors like for jersey combo. I was like this team rocks. And no, it didn't quite work out. I was also a huge Kevin Garnett fan. So when he went over in that trade, but didn't quite work out.
All right, I got to tell you then, as we're kind of doing some NBA stuff, like I'm back in on the Mavs. Like I'm not watching them, but like I'm still going to be a Mavs guy.
Sure.
Cooper
Gross.
Flag just does it for me. Like I
Okay.
love Cooper. I love Cooper Flag. I think he's
Yeah.
awesome. So as much as as upset as I was with the trade and how I wanted to disown them, like they brought me back in by getting Cooper Flag. So.
It was really funny to watch in real time, like you grapple with do I have to cheer for the LeBron and the Lakers now? Like it goes against everything you stood
I
for.
can't do it. I can't.
Yeah.
I tried it. I put a future on the Lakers last year. It flamed out. I was pissed. I'm like, I just can't do it. I
Yeah.
can't. So I wish Luka all the individual success in the world. And then as soon as LeBron retires, hopefully this offseason, then I can like be okay with the Lakers winning something.
Sure. Which they never will, because that guy, I don't think he could defend me right now, Keeney.
LeBron, I agree. He's old. He's washed.
And the 300-pound Slovenian at shooting guard.
You mean the guy that's leading the league in scoring? Like
Sure.
that guy.
Sure.
Okay.
And
Brooklyn Nets minute. I mean, it's America's favorite segment. I don't know if the Cyclone Fanatic people are like fully prepared or no.
Yeah.
Like let's just talk about the Brooklyn Nets for a minute. I mean, because that's kind of what we do. That's the segment. But and then Stormy has a comment here that we will definitely get into because this ties in. I promise, people. So Brooklyn. First off, we were talking about it a little bit this morning, like how much people make. And I asked you, do you want to know how much money Michael Porter Jr. is making? And you said no.
So, like, are we saying year by year, like the contract he signed?
Like, how much of the Nets going to pay Michael Porter Jr. for the duration of his contract?
Oh, God. I'm going to guess, like, he's 24-7. I would guess
it's just an incredible basketball team and roster to look at. Like, this is a professional basketball team.
Oh, it's so bad. The other thing we were talking about is they drafted, I don't know why. And honestly, what they should have done, Keeney, they drafted 5 guys in the first round last year. All of them suck. If you would have just packaged that and got 1 lottery pick for this year's draft, that would have been a million times better than what they got in the aggregate.
Yegor Demon, he just doesn't do it for you.
Oh my God. Who's the other guard that can't shoot? We had 2. Oh, Traore, the kid from France. Oh, I don't know, man. I also just don't understand the NBA anymore. I feel like it's broken and it needs to be fixed somehow. Like we need to turn it off and turn it back on again. That's the other thing we were talking about this morning is just like how cool the NBA was 15 years ago. Like just how many dudes and everybody was just dunking on each other. And it wasn't this analytic nightmare of yuck. But I'm going to guess Michael Porter's getting like a 4-year, $180 million contract.
Okay, I wasn't planning on looking this up, but let's just see. Michael Porter Jr. Spot track. Let's see.
What is that? It's like 45 a year.
Let me switch the screen share real quick.
Also,
this is gonna be like an awesome reveal for you, actually. Like in real time, you're gonna see the number. Ready?
Yep. I can't see it. I'm too blind.
You can't see it?
Oh my God.
5 for 180.
Yo. Okay. So we were doing this morning and I was like, Keeney, this might be my best talent. I was a year short, but I got the money.
If they did prices right for NBA contracts, like I think you'd be walking out like winning the showcase.
This is insane. I truly think this is like my hidden talent. I never knew I had this until this year. And I'm terrible with numbers. Like math is the only thing I'm bad at, like in school. Wow.
Anyway, the answer is it looks like $79 million is what the Brooklyn Nets are going to pay Michael Porter Jr. before he's a free agent again.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh,
that's yeah. How do you feel about Michael Porter Jr.? Like
bad.
It's just bad. Do you separate the art from the artist with him? Are you listening to his podcast on the regular?
I need these as far away from Michael Porter Jr. as physically possible, or he's gonna get Jaden Ivey'd. Like if he was averaging like 10 and 3 instead of 24 and 7, no doubt in my mind that Brooklyn would have just been like, hey, we're just gonna like disassociate with you and kind of push you away because we think you're crazy and you're not good enough at basketball to overlook that, like Kyrie Irving or like Ben Simmons when he was going through like an identity crisis. So we're just going to get rid of you and act like it never happened. Yeah, not a big MPJ guy. I'm not sure there's a player on Brooklyn right now that I'm like, Love
They're
that guy.
like they're like performance art disguised as a basketball team. Like
Yeah.
Cam Thomas, I think he was your guy. He's gone.
Right.
All right,
And
let's.
what did we get for Cam Thomas, Keeney?
I don't
Nothing.
know. I don't know.
Waived
Uh,
him.
all right, let's talk about the future of the Brooklyn Nets then, because I mean this ties into college basketball, it ties into the draft. So let's just say in a hypothetical world, the Brooklyn Nets win the draft lottery, and the GM of the Nets calls Dylan because like I need some advice on what to do with this pick.
As he should.
Who like who what are you telling the GM when he says, Dylan, I need some help. I need to know who we got to pick. And like the top two guys are Big 12 guys, you're a Big 12 guy. Who should we pick first?
I think the other thing too is like we don't have to worry about fit at all because whoever we take hopefully is not going to play with any of the guys on the team long term. So it's like you just take the best player with the number one pick. Keeney, from what I've seen, and especially the noise around Darren Peterson about halfway through the season, they beat a really good mate. Did they beat Houston? I think they did. Because the whole like kind of college basketball, like the Seth Greenbergs, the Jay Williams, like all of these kind of ESPN pundit guys were like starting to kind of turn on Peterson and being like, "Hey, enough's enough. Like this is bad for college basketball. We're gonna call it what it is." And then he had a really good game against a really good team. I think it was Houston, and all that chatter kind of went away. Keeney, I've seen enough of that guy to be like, I don't. That is not who you want to bring in. That's not the guy you want on the billboards in Brooklyn of being like, this is our guy, face of the franchise. Like, especially in the NBA, like if you think he was getting machine gun like to the thigh with a 30 game college season. And people are like, oh, but look at his high school tape. I'm like, I don't give a shit about like, it just felt to me like he did not care about college basketball. He did not care about Kansas. He was really only worried about his future. But you get these guys to the NBA and nothing changes. That's why I think DeBansa, like he was down for whatever at BYU. He was like, they beat Utah. He was like, look, I got nothing against Utah. I'm a kid from Massachusetts. I know nothing about him, but all week people were like, we hate Utah. And I was like, okay, I'll drop 40 on him. Like, he was like, what? Like, who cares? And like, I want somebody, and also, DeBance is incredibly talented. Like, let's not act like it's like these two guys are kind of neck and neck already. And I think just personality wise and leadership wise, like AJ is such head and shoulders above what we saw from Darren Peterson this season. Like he embodied BYU. He took that mantle on. I hate BYU.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, speaking of things you don't like,
Right.
You were anti BYU, anti DeBansa, and now you want him on the Nets.
Hey man, if Darren Peterson is a Brooklyn Net next year, that might be the last straw for me. I'll probably just jump ship to the Pacers and be like, all right, Tyrese, I'm riding. Let's see what happens.
So let me throw another scenario at you then. The Pacers win the lottery and they pick AJ DeBansa, and the Nets get the second pick in the draft. Who do you want the Nets to take at that point? Is it DP or is it somebody else?
I mean, they'd have to take Darren Peterson. If you have the second pick and Darren Peterson is still there, you literally have to take him. As much as I hate it, that's not what I want them to do, but they would get, I mean, it'd be like, I can't even imagine like the last time. Maybe it'd be like if John Wall was at 2 and you didn't take him. Like, I can't remember the last time we had this dynamic of a surefire guard coming out of college and being like, you know what, pass. Like, even with all the off-court stuff aside, if he's there at 2, you got to take him.
Okay.
But it sucks. And I would, if Tyrese is like, if his Tubadane is AJ DeBansa, see ya. Sorry, Brooklyn. You're
jumping ship. You're just like, I'm a Pacer fan now.
It's been a fun 14 years as a Brooklyn Nets fan, but got to do what you got to do.
You and Caitlin Clark, just the biggest Indiana fans out there. You know what? If Dallas could ever get some luck in the lottery,
Here we go.
This would be a great year for them to get lucky in the lottery for once.
It's all rigged. That was the dumbest shit I've ever seen, Keeney. And people say like the Mavericks lost the trade. Anthony Davis was not part of that trade. They were getting the first pick. They knew what they were doing. Adam Silver called them. They said, we got to get Luka to Los Angeles. Nico's going to take the fall, and you're going to get Cooper Flag. And they all shook hands and walked away.
Yeah, outside of the team sucking, it's actually been a pretty good year to be a Mavs fan because like Cooper Flag's awesome. Anthony Davis isn't on the team anymore. Nico's gone. So there's one guy that I'm kind of looking at, and I'm really hoping that somehow Dallas can end up with, and that's Darius Acuff because
that guy
they
rocks.
need a point guard in the worst way. Like if they get in the top 3, Boozer would be a really good fit, I think, but Acuff as like running point with Cooper Flag, that's really exciting to me.
Yeah, that would be cinema. And the other guy, we were talking about this before we went on, but like I think Kingston Flemings is going to be a phenomenal NBA point guard.
Yeah, like I get the benefit of just saying like, hey, I saw him in person. Like I'm just going to tell everybody that asked me, like, yeah, I saw Flemings in person. Like he's got it.
Yeah, he does.
So a couple guys for Dallas to look at, but if we could just get some lottery luck, it'd be pretty cool to get AJ and pair him up with Cooper, even if they don't really fit together. Yeah, man, I don't know.
Disgusting.
You don't like that.
Look, man, I'm happy Luka's not there. I don't know if like pitching your wagon to like a white guy from Duke was like the most. As far as white guys for Duke, Cooper Flag probably is like one of the more likable ones in memory. But it's still like, Keeney, there's so many green pastures in the NBA in terms of like young, exciting teams. I think the only one that I would hate you even more is if you're like, I'm an OKC guy. That would make me
I could never. I watched the finals last year. I just can't.
Sickening.
Unethical. Could never, ever do it.
It was so. Did you see last night they call off SGA's game winner because he clearly pushed off and he acted shocked?
I didn't watch the clip. I saw it obviously getting passed around. I didn't watch it myself, but like that's awesome.
Yeah. They still won in overtime. They're probably going to win another championship, but it sucks. And like that Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Thabo Cephalosha, Serge Ibaka, that team was awesome. That team rocked. And for this team to have the success that it felt like that team deserved, that's like another. They look the same. Like the uniforms are still the same. They still do like those blue outs. Like everyone is wearing that stupid blue playoff T-shirt in Oklahoma City. But it's not the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about like how cool the NBA used to be, like I got to tell you, the 2015 and 2016 Warriors, like with Harrison Barnes in the Kevin Durant spot, coolest basketball team of all time. I mean, I loved watching those teams, and like I got into it because obviously, like Barnes, okay, he's from Ames, that's cool. Oh, and by the way, he's on the best team in the league, and they rock, and they play the best kind of basketball possible, and and then I think I got Kevin Durant in there instead, won a couple more titles, and it's like, all right, it's kind of played out now.
Yeah, it took me a while to come around to the Kevin Durant Warriors because it was such a snake move by KD. But if you were able to look past that and just watch like how incredible those teams were, especially when they ran the death lineup, Keeney, like that really is some of the most beautiful, purest version of basketball I've ever watched and probably ever will. Like I don't know how much more of a perfect team you can get with like Steph, Clay, Iguodala, Thompson, Durant.
Yeah, like I have really fond memories of like being a senior in college the year they went 73-9, and like they were on TV all the time. So hey, it's Wednesday night, and it's the Warriors against the Clippers on ESPN, and then I'm at we're at Welch Ave Station just like having pints and watching the basketball game. Like
Keeney,
I got fond memories of that.
When was the last time you watched like Blake Griffin YouTube NBA highlights?
Never.
You have to do that.
I'm like Blake Griffin Oklahoma highlights are really cool. Bro, like college when he just like yammed on everybody.
That's literally all his highlights are on the NBA. It's like before his knees got bad and he is just like punching it on guys, like just like ungodly dunks.
Yeah. I feel really checked out on the NBA. I'm trying to catch up and learn something before the playoffs start here in a couple of weeks. I'll try and get into it. This is another thing that I know makes you mad, Dylan. I'm going to be probably watching more hockey playoffs and NBA playoffs this year.
Yeah, it's gross. I can't do that. I will watch the NBA playoffs. I always do. I think if I had to adopt a team, probably the Pistons is who I'm leaning towards. The Spurs are fun, but again, I don't know if I can be like
The
a
French
Wemby
guy,
guy. Yeah, I don't know if I can do it. So
another
the
Euro.
right, the Pistons got Cade Cunningham, Big 12 guy, uh, and Jalen Duren. Isaiah Stewart might punch somebody in the face. One of the Thompson twins. Like they haven't. I always just like the young and exciting teams. Also, my dream is for like Halliburton to come back, and then it's like Pacers Pistons, like it's the early 2000s, and it's like the biggest rivalry in the NBA. That's what I want to happen.
How are the Hawks doing? How's Trae Young gonna? What kind of run is he gonna have this year with
You
the
mean
Hawks?
for my Washington Wizards? We will. We sure will.
I will miss the comments about Dom Nelson. I know that for a fact.
Yeah. If there's one thing about Dom Nelson I'll miss, it's the comments. Yeah, I think the Wizards are in a great spot. Your boy Trae Young, AD, probably the best pick and roll since I mean maybe Stockton and Malone. Like, I don't know.
I was just thinking about how Dallas had how they drafted Luca and Jalen Brunson and let them both out
Both
the door.
leave.
Just makes me sick, man. Like I don't
And
know.
they literally got I mean they kind of got nothing for Doncic, but they literally got nothing for Brunson.
Right? They got. I mean, they got nothing from both of them, and it makes me sick, man.
It's
So I
gross.
don't know. Hey, we're kind of hitting time here, but I don't know. Is there anything basketball related we haven't talked about yet?
I don't think so, man.
Stormy, we are showing our age. Like we're nostalgic for the NBA in like 2015.
Yeah. I will say, I was just talking to a coworker at KCCI, and he was like, "You're too young to know the name George McGinnis." And I was like, "Oh, I know. I am familiar with George McGinnis because the sicko that I am, I always built my 2K NBA 2K My Player to be a mix of Dennis Rodman and George McGinnis. So he'd be like 6'8", 270 with like 99 in rebounding and like a 95 in block. And that's the only guy I ever made on 2K. And his name was Dennis McGinnis. So
Yeah, man.
I know about like the old NBA just because my dad like would make me watch Jordan games, and I love like learning about Magic and Larry and Dr. J. I had a Dr. J poster in my dorm room at Iowa State. So I love every era of the NBA, but yeah, I mean I wasn't watching any of those guys.
All right, Dylan. I think then we'll just kind of call it quits here. But this was a lot of fun. Obviously, you're welcome anytime as we hit the summer months. You know, we'll be doing some more fun stuff. Definitely some basketball talk, portal, all that good stuff. Yeah. Any parting shots before I let you go, and then we wrap this thing up.
I love Taman Lipsey. I love Joshua Jefferson. I think we'll be, just as good and hopefully better next year.
All right, I'm gonna say bear down. I really hope Arizona wins the championship this weekend. I think it'd be
Yep.
great for the Big 12, and they're clearly the best team. So I just want to see them get over the finish line.
Yep.
All right. Thank you all for watching, by the way. Great views tonight. Great comments. And yeah, look forward to talking to y'all on the next Litecast. Follow us on CF After Dark, all our good stuff. Iowa Distilling Company. Get down to coming. Have yourself some good spirits. And see you all later.